Welcome back. In today's video I'll be showing you how to use conditional formatting in Microsoft Excel. This will be ideal for those of you that have never used conditional formatting before. We'll be using a basic example so that you can understand it better. So here we are in Microsoft Excel. We've got a very simple example here. We've got month on the left and then revenue on the right. Conditional formatting is a tool that is used on cells to change their appearance or format based on the value within them or the rule that you set. First of all, let's access conditional formatting. You can go to the Home tab up here in the top left, and then conditional formatting should be somewhere here. You could also search for it up at the top as well. We're going to use this basic example with a lot of the available rules and tools in conditional formatting, so go ahead and click on the conditional formatting option to begin looking at the menu. So as I mentioned, conditional formatting uses rules. Some of the rules are already set for you with these options at the top, or you can create a custom rule here. We'll be doing both of those today, so you can stick around and do whichever you think is necessary for your work. We'll start here at the top where it says Highlight Cells Rules. This means it will highlight a certain cell based on one of these rules here. Now before we actually select one of these, we do need to select our data set. Now this will depend on what yours is. Here we've got month and revenue, so we're just going to select the revenue for this. Drag and hold over our values, and now we've got these selected. This will be the data that we are going to apply the rules to. Go back to conditional formatting at the top, and then go and highlight cells rules. So obviously you want to choose the rule that is most helpful in your work. For example, we can choose greater than, and then here we can select our test. So as you can see, it's defaulted to 17,500. We could, for example, change this to whatever we want. So let's set it to 20,000. So that's 20,000 selected, so what it's doing is it's looking through all of our selected data and looking for values that are greater than this number that we've inputted. Now we can choose how it highlights the cell by adjusting this drop-down box. You can see we've got many different options. We can create a custom one if we want, but for this we'll choose green fill with dark green text. And as you can see, that's probably the most helpful for this case with revenue. If we wanted to select a custom format, you can go to the drop-down box here, and then all we need to do is format the cell like you would any other cell, and you can forget that conditional formatting is going on at this point. This is just as it would be for any normal cell. So we can choose fill, and then we can choose a darker green this time, go back to the font, and then we could select the automatic one. We could make it bold or a bold italic, and click on OK. As you can see, it's changed these cells now to our custom format. If you click on OK, it will set this rule, and now this rule will stay in. You don't need to select the text or the items anymore. The great thing with conditional formatting is it will update automatically. We no longer need to select the cells, and let's say we change this July from 12,000 to 22,000. As you can see, it automatically updates based on the rule, and it will continue to do this throughout this selected area. Now that's the most basic use of conditional formatting. We can go back to this conditional formatting option, and there are a few more things that we'll cover, but let's go to Manage Rules at the bottom. This allows us to see all of the rules within our current selection. Now we just have January selected, so this will only change January. You can change this drop-down box to this worksheet, and you'll see all of the rules that we've got on the entire worksheet, and you'll be able to go down each and change them. You can double-click on the format to change it within here, and you can change the selection that it applies to here. If you want to delete the rule, you can select one and then go to Delete Rule. We'll delete that for now, and then we'll show a slightly different one. So with our data selected again, we'll go back to conditional formatting. We don't need to go through any more of the highlight cells rules. They're all as simple as the greater than example we used. For example, for between, you'd need to select two different values instead of the one, and then it would highlight those between those values. Top-bottom rules are slightly different, but they work in the exact same way. If you were to choose bottom 10 items, it would highlight the bottom 10 items automatically. You can change how many of the bottom items it highlights, and then again change the format in this box here, like we did with the other example. And again, it works the same way for all of these others. It will highlight the cells that meet this criteria, for example above the average or below the average. Now where it gets slightly different is when we work with data bars, colour scales and icon sets. If we start with data bars and we choose this green option, you can see that it's visually representing the values by filling up the cells based on the data in them. So you can see with the maximum of 23,000 it's full. Now this doesn't necessarily work with this example, but your data might be different and this might be the exact thing you need. Next up, color scales. Again, these work similar to data bars. They're very automatic in their setup. If we select this top left option, you can see that it's showing colors based on the values, with the darkest green being the most positive number or the highest with December, and the lowest number in August being 12,000. There are many different options with color scales. You might want to choose a slightly less colorful one. You can see it showing the highest amount with the darkest green, and then white for the lowest amount. Finally, icon sets work in a similar way to the color scales. Let's choose this traffic light system, and as you can see, it's automatically placing the green circles with the highest values. Now at any time with any of the rules that we've done, you can customize how they appear. If we go to manage rules, and then find the rule that we want to manage, so we'll choose our traffic light system, and then double click on the format, we can then change exactly when the green, yellow and red circles will appear. It's automatically making the green value showing the top third. You can obviously change that to whatever you want, so we can make it the top 50%. If you click on OK, and then OK again, it will now make the top 50% of values green. I've once again cleared all of the rules and selected our data. I'm going to go back to conditional formatting, and this time we'll create a custom rule. You can think of custom rules as basically starting from scratch with one of these options. If we click on New Rule, we've now got a range of options to choose. Again, this will be dependent on the type of data you've got. The top option, called Format All Cells Based on Their Values, is similar to some of the options I showed earlier. We can choose the format style with this drop-down box. We can choose a 2-color scale, 3-color scale, data bar or icon sets. You'll notice some of these are some of the things we showed earlier. Let's say we choose a 2-color scale. We've got red and green as the highest and lowest. We can select those colors here, so we could make it a more vibrant red and a slightly more vibrant green. It will automatically set the lowest value as the low end and the highest value as the high end, but you can change this if you go to type and then change it to number. Now we could change it from 0 and then the highest number to 30,000. Well, as you can see, it is pretty ugly, but you get the idea. It's showing that red colour as the lowest, which would be 0, and so it's slightly orange by the time it gets to 12,000, and it's not at its fully vibrant green when it gets to 23,000. This probably will look better with a 3-colour scale, but you can see how it works with that custom rule option. The second option for the custom rule is format only cells that contain. This again is a nice and simple option. We can change it from cell value to specific text, all of these options. If we choose cell value and then between, we can then set our numbers here. So let's say between 10 and 20,000. With that selected, we then need to customize our format. If you click on format here, you can adjust the cell as you would normally. We can change the fill and the font if we wanted, and if you click on OK, it will now create this new rule in the selected cells. So we've got it to cell value between 10,000 and 20,000. So if we've inputted everything right, it should highlight the cells this color if then value is between 10,000 and 20,000. Click on OK, and as you can see, it's worked out perfectly. Without wanting to be too repetitive, you can see that some of these options here are exactly the same as these. However, their difference is the test that they are looking for. So this one, format only top or bottom ranked values, we can choose exactly the top and then whatever percentage we want as well. And then you would customize your cell like you would normally with this format option. You can format cells based on whether they are above or below the average here, and again, select above or below or one of these standard deviation options, and then format your cell. Now this is quite a useful option, format only unique or duplicate values. This would be helpful if you were looking through a larger data set, maybe with names or numbers, and if you highlight this, you can then choose between a duplicate and unique. If you select duplicate, and then if we were to format these cells, for example, we might want to choose red for this, click OK, and then click OK again, it will highlight the cells that are duplicates. So we've got two 18,000s and two 22,000s. It doesn't make sense in this example, but I'm sure you can see how it would be useful. The final option is a little bit more advanced, and you'll probably want to know exactly what you are looking for to be able to use this. This is where we can use a custom formula as the test for the conditional formatting. Most of the basic formulas are probably covered with some of these options above, so you'd only need to use advanced formulas in here, or those that aren't covered by these options. As a reminder, if you go to conditional formatting, you can clear all of the rules either in the selected cells or in the entire sheet with this option, and manage rules is really helpful for adjusting the rules that you've set if perhaps they haven't worked out correctly. If you don't see your rules in the manager, make sure you've got this drop down box to this worksheet, and that will show every single rule you've got on this entire worksheet. So hopefully that has covered enough of conditional formatting to give you a basic understanding. If you've got any specific questions, then let me know in the comments below. I really hope you found today's video helpful and you'll be able to use conditional formatting in some of your work. Remember to leave a like and feel free to subscribe if the video helps. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.